Toward the beginning of the school year when I first came to Weimar, I sat in on a Sabbath afternoon discussion led out by Pastor Don McIntosh, and it was about the Madison College and its downfall. I don't know, were any of you at that? Just on? Okay. Well, it was pretty interesting, but what fascinated me more than when he was talking about Madison was when the discussion morphed into his presentation of his ideas of a campus church. And I found myself really resonating with that idea and how the students would be involved in the church and how the community would relate to the church. And I was really excited about it. And it's been really neat to see how that vision has materialized into what we have now. We have kind of an infant campus church here at Weimar. And with that, there's kind of been a transition between what Weimar was like in terms of church attendance and involvement and what it is now. And so with that, I've done a lot of thinking for my own self and debating what to do in terms of my involvement. And I've also done a lot of talking with other students, some first-time students, first-year students here at Weimar, and other returning students. And I'd like to hear some of your input as well about it. But before we open that discussion, I'd like to give some background as to Campus Church. And with the Campus Church starting, I think it's important that students understand what is expected of them in terms of church involvement and attendance. And so before the Campus Church started, students decided what church they wanted to attend. And I wasn't here, so I have gathered information from other students and found that mostly positive relationships have been formed with area churches. Students have gotten involved and become responsible for various church-related activities or offices. And then, now with the Campus Church starting, it's created kind of a tension in the students that have gotten involved in churches in the past. And so there are some reasons against mandatory attendance that I've thought about and heard from other students. And one of those is that if you make church attendance mandatory here on campus, it kind of limits the light and influence that is shed on this area. You know, we're really focused on outreach and on ministering to those around us. And so it kind of seems counterintuitive to some that we would kind of shrink in within our own walls. Another reason why people would argue against mandatory attendance is that students already have relationships and responsibilities at other churches, so it doesn't seem wise or Christ-like to withdraw from those and just leave churches hanging, some of which are very reliant on the students for various activities, or maybe they're teaching Sabbath school and they don't have enough Sabbath school teachers. So that's another reason that I've come across against mandatory attendance. And now to switch over a little bit and touch on the other side. The purpose of a campus church is to be a place of discipleship for the students here with mentored guidance, and it's forming a base for outreach where students are active in soul winning. It's also a place of, as mentioned before, discipleship, not only for the students, but also for the people that are brought into the church based on the students' outreach. So some reasons in favor of mandatory attendance that I've come across is accountability. When students are supposed to be on campus, they can be kept track of easily by the staff and faculty of Weimar. It can also add to the campus unity of Weimar by working together, worshiping together. And it also creates a place where all the students and graduates of Weimar gain skills that they will be able to carry with them in the future. So now I'd like to hear some of your ideas in response to the topic of mandatory church attendance, campus church attendance. Are there any reasons for or against campus church attendance that you think of? Or maybe you could share your own experience of what it's been like to have Campus Church start this semester?
Okay, when I first came to Weimar almost 4 years ago, I remember distinctly that thinking, hey, like it's cool. There's no campus church because the students have to go out and help other churches. I was like, hey, that's really cool. They're not just staying within the little circle here, but they're actually going out and trying to help out other people. So then when I was like, because then they've been doing that, since Weimar started. And then I'm not against the idea of a campus church, don't get me wrong. But when it started, moving in that direction, I was like, are we kind of like losing sight of what the original mission was? Like the original purpose, like why we didn't have a campus church? And that, like there was an actual reason and purpose behind that.
I know when I first came, I was a little bit surprised that there wasn't a campus church. Because, I don't know, the campuses that I have been to, they all have campus churches. And so I was a little bit surprised, and at first I was kind of unsure of where to go. But then once I found a place at the Spanish church that I attend, now that there is campus church, I have felt that tension with there's things on campus that I'm asked to do or that I want to do or take part in, and then but I still have commitments at this church that I've been working at and relationships there, and I kind of have been half doing both of them, which means that I'm not putting my all into either. And so it's not that campus church is bad or being in a church off campus is bad. It's just that maybe both of them at the same time aren't that great.
And that's what I found for when I've been talking to other students too, especially those returning, and because they've been able have had the opportunity to get involved with other churches. There's that category of people that have gotten involved in other churches, and then there's a category of perhaps more new students that haven't had that opportunity, or they, have just checked out the churches, but then they usually come here. And so they're kind of, it's almost like two separate areas of discussion, but it's definitely a struggle. There's that, what do you do when there's both? And perhaps there's a way that we could bridge that so that we can have that campus unity still.
Yeah, I was going to suggest something similar about bridging it, because there is a lot of opportunities for students to do work in other churches. I feel that it's a great learning ability. Great learning opportunities in a lot of these other churches. Yet at the same time, it can be harder to get involved with those other churches and trying to get in a place where you're actually learning a lot and being very useful. And so the time that it takes to do that, you could have already learned quite a bit and been very useful in the campus church setting. And something that I've thought about is, doing something where it's not really mandatory. Like if you have a good reason, like if you're involved and you get involved, then you can go somewhere else. And so there's sort of like, it's hard because you say, well, I'm not involved yet, but I want to get involved, and so I have to stay here because I don't have a good reason. So there'd be something, a situation like that you have to work out. But for those that aren't involved in those other churches, being involved in a campus church that is actively doing outreach in the surrounding areas, and they are, Weimar Campus Church is doing a lot now with outreach and with, working on the communities. And I don't feel that it's really just pulling into ourselves. I feel that it's, we're coming together so that way we can reach out to others. So, having people involved in a church like that is also very important, especially because of the area we're at. And, there's churches, like up the road, for example, Colfax Church, they have a lot of people coming there and they are very full. And it's hard to do outreach and to try to bring a lot of people in when they might feel uncomfortable coming to a church where people are sitting out in the back because there's so many people there. And so it's, you have to look at the size of the churches and the room they have to grow.
And just to add on to that, I was thinking we have, about 40 plus students here, and that's not including staff and faculty. What do you do when, if it's mandatory, then everyone's here,